Is all that extra IVF testing necessary? Let me explain. Hey, Kathy Benardo here from the Northeast Assisted Fertility Group. There was a recent editorial in the New York Times, which I'll link down below. An IVF patient was really bitter and complaining about all these extra add-ons, all this extra testing, that basically it was an upsell from her clinic, and she felt that took a lot of advantage of vulnerable recipients just to shake them down for more money. And she called for government regulation. Now, it's true that in these past few years where I've been working in this field, I've seen a lot more of this testing. In the very beginning, when I started about 15-20 years ago, the prevailing attitude from the doctors was the least intervention, the better. Let nature take its course as much as possible and don't butt in. But now there's all these ways. Now you think when the lab and the embryologists have access to the sperm, and they have access to the egg, and they have access to the embryo, there's all these ways to manipulate them ahead of time, with all this testing, with the kind of scratching of the surface of the embryo to make it more likely to implant, with manipulating the surface of the uterus and to make it more likely to take the implantation. There's lots of things and futzing that they can do with all this material. And I'm going to give a list below with all the definitions. Now, do you need any of this stuff? Well, it's really between you and your doctor. Of course, there's tons of things they can do, and you don't need all or any of this. It all depends on what your particular needs are. If you if you're of advanced maternal age and it's more likely to have a chromosomal abnormality with your eggs, then maybe some kind of, pre-implantation and genetic testing would be called for. If you have some uterine issues, maybe some endometrial scratching would be useful. But certainly you don't need any of them, or all of them, depending on your needs. And you need to have a dialogue with your doctor. Also, the own lab, it may vary per clinic. Some clinics are really good and some labs are really good at doing certain techniques, and some labs may favor some techniques over another. So you have to ask your doctor, why do I need this? What are the success rates and what are the studies that prove it? So just ask a lot of questions. I don't think government intervention is needed for something like this. IVF is on the spectrum of reproductive rights. On the one end is abortion and birth control, on the other end is IVF. And I don't think it's worth messing with. I just think none of these are necessary. They're up to you as the so-called consumer, and you can choose to take advantage of these or not. Now remember, in the IVF industry, the holy grail is success rates, and that's really what your doctor is looking at. They want to do all they can to have that live birth rate as high as possible, because that attracts more patients to them. So that's what they have in mind, and that's what your goal is too. So your doctor's not your enemy. Your doctor's not a con man or a salesman. Certainly if you're getting that vibe from the doctor, that's not the right doctor you should go with. And this whole issue also brings into relief how important the embryologist is in this whole process. Like I've said before, the magic of IVF takes place in the lab. It's not in the examining room. It's not in your doctor's office. Your doctor is your guide, but the embryologist is really the magician here. So I hope that was helpful. If so, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel and go to assistedfertility.com for more information on egg donation and surrogacy. Thanks so much for watching.